Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video on Gran Turismo 7, and we are back with one of the new daily races this week at Red Bull Ring in Group 4. Now a lot of people probably when they saw this combination were like, oh no, this is going to be a disaster. But I can say, truthfully, after racing this quite a lot, I have absolutely loved this race. I think it's been really fun. Yes, the Mazda needs BOP and it needs sorting, it needs nerfing, it needs fixing, so we can race some other cars in this group. However, as a race, judging this by just the race in itself, you can't really say it's been a bad week because I've thoroughly enjoyed this with some brilliant racing all week. It's been really entertaining. So let's get into this race. We're starting from P10. You might have seen a lot of drivers were in this race. Rossetti, Gallo, very fast drivers. Going from just behind me there, you can see just in P10 now, Rossetti. Someone forgot to start, I think, there, and we all gained position straight away. So out of turn 1, managed to get myself up into P8 with a nice move down the inside with a better exit over the curb. And now we're just going to have to go a little bit defensive into turn 3. As you can see, the car on the left there is going to try and go deep and get a better exit. So using second gear for the acceleration when we're at that tight angle. Now I am going to show you the setup that I used at the end of this race. So make sure you check that out and you can try it out for the race. Now I have altered that for time trial and we'll talk about that when we get there. But yeah, going into this next braking zone, you can see I had to go a little bit defensive again. However, he braked way too late there on our left there. You can see, and that gives me a comfortable position up into P8. So now, moving on to the start of lap 2, sorry, not lap 7, lap 2. And we can see we're right behind P7 going into turn 1. Now, there's a good battle going on here. You can see how close it is from, I think it's P3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and myself. Very, very close racing. You can see behind us, Rossetti going for a move, putting himself up to P9 also. So, very, very close racing all the way through the field, and I have to say that has been one of the things with this week's race. It's been quite close, it's competitive, a lot of overtakes, and it's been enjoyable. So into turn 3, you can see one driver, Etman, there goes extremely deep and comes back off from the outside of the track, and we managed to take the position off of P8, so putting myself up to P7. Now we know that Etman is going to have dirty tyres in front of us because he went really wide there, so he's going to have to be careful on the brakes. You can see he brakes early, and we're going to take advantage of that up the inside. And then on the power, nice and early. You can see you just can't get the power down when you get dirty tyres with the front wheel drive car. But we get a really good exit there, and that's going to give me the opportunity to have a little look up the inside of HCZR16. And as you can see there, we just about hold it up the inside with 4th gear, and now we've got the chance to go up the inside into the next left-hander and put ourselves nicely up to P5. So a very good start to this race. 2 laps in and we're already up to P5, so almost perfect start in terms of getting through the traffic, and now we can start chasing after some of the cars in front of us. So looking on the replay camera, you can see just how close it is behind us there with the battling going on, and you can see the Rossetti just at the back of that group, and that has really helped me there. You can see we got through 3 or 4 cars there that we've managed to put between ourselves and Rossetti, and that is a massive help with knowing how fast Rossetti will be on this combination at the Red Bull Ring. So now starting lap 3, and now we're going to start and see if we can catch up to the next group of drivers, which is P2, 3 and 4. P1 is 4 seconds ahead, so a little bit of work to do to catch him up, and now we can see on lap 4 we managed to catch up a little bit more to P4, and we're a little bit closer to this podium battle now. You can see getting within 3 tenths coming out of the exit of turn 1 and getting quite a nice run from there, you can see, as we're going into turn 3. And you can see, luckily for us, P4 in front of us has picked up half a second penalty, which in all honesty you're going to get at this week's combination. A front wheel drive car that understeers on power, and turn 1, a corner that just loves to give you penalties. So it is going to happen, you're going to get penalties, it's going to get frustrating. But for me in this situation now, that's an ideal situation, because I was just thinking, right, we'll just get this person when he goes for, through the penalty zone. However, going into the braking zone, he brakes so early, it actually gives me an opportunity to go for a send that I wasn't planning, an unplanned send there. I was not trying to do that. He just braked that early that we managed to make the corner, take the position before we even got to the penalty zone. So yeah, not a planned overtake, that was 100% just braking where we normally brake, and he braked so early that it gave us the opportunity to go for the move. So up to P4 there. Quite lucky that he saw it coming as well, because I think he braked so early that he probably was looking in the mirror, that he was aware that it was going to happen. So luckily for us, up to P4, and now we can start chasing after this podium battle. We can see at this stage now we're under 3 seconds to P1 also, so we're gaining on the leader. This is going to get quite close towards the end. You can see we're lap 5 of 11. We're not halfway through the race yet, but we're getting close to that halfway point now. Some people are going to pit on lap 5 or lap 6, it depends on your strategy. Now I can see the P3 in front of me was struggling with tyres. He was sliding through the corner, so the rear tyres that cooled down with this car were causing him an issue. So I decided, let's get in the pits, let's go for that undercut, and let's get ahead of the Italian driver in front of us. So pushing the limits on the pit entry there and changing the tyres. Now, one of the main reasons you change the tyres is not just because of the front tyres, it's because of the rear tyres. With this car, the rear tyres cool down massively, and it causes an issue where the car wants to drift through the corners. So if you've been experiencing that this week, some of it could be to do with your setup, a lot of it's to do with the temperatures on the rear tyres. That's why your car is sliding, that's why you need to change the tyres in this race. So I wouldn't recommend doing no tyre change unless there's a lot of battling. It can work, even in the Mazda, you can make it work at this week's combination if you drive it sensibly and you avoid losing too much lap time. You can get a massive jump over people that are fighting, so it is technically possible, but I definitely recommend for the overall optimum run, it's better to change them tyres and get some fresh heat into the rears. So you can see when you come out the pits now, we can see our rear tyres have got temperature in them. We're on lap 7 now, and we're chasing after P3. You can see we're getting a little bit closer every lap there now. As we come through here, you can see that P2 have managed to pick up a penalty, which is going to bring P2 and P3. So Luke and P3 are going to get very, very close into the braking zone for the final 2 corners, and they're going to start battling, which is a perfect scenario for me sitting back here and just trying to gain on them. So you can see we've got Gallo coming through into P7 on the left. You can see on the positions, so we've got to keep an eye on him because we know he's one of the fastest drivers in the world on Gran Turismo. So we're going to have to definitely pay attention to that and just see if we can get up to this battle for the lead now, as the previous lead has gone in the pits. And as we come through there, we can see that P1 has managed to give himself half a second of penalty again through the exit of that corner. It's so easy to do, it's very common, and it's frustrating when it happens. But that again is going to give me a nice opportunity to get nice and close to this battle for the lead, and maybe even get ourselves in the lead if we can get past Luke there, as Luke has ran wide out of turn 3 onto the outside and might have gave himself a little bit of dirty tyres. I'm not sure if he just got it back on track in time, not sure if he picked up a penalty also, because it's possible to do that. But now we're going to try and brake as late as possible, and we can see we've managed to get that inside line up into 3rd gear, and we've got ourselves up into P2, but we are 9 tenths behind P1, so by the time we get to the penalty zone, we're not going to probably be able to go for the move. Let's see, he's going to go defensive because you can see us coming through. We're going to try and go around the outside of him into turn 1, but there's just not enough grip is there. We're going to see if we can send it all the way around the outside. He brakes very late there, good defensive driving, manages to keep it on the track as well, so actually really good defensive driving by P1 there. But now we've got that better exit speed, we might be able to go for a move into turn 1. Now he's going to let us go for this because it is very hard to get through here, and as we come through the corner, you can see that we're trying to keep it tight. We hit the curb a little bit funny, and we do nudge him slightly wide there, so I decided to back out, tuck back underneath him and let him keep that position. But we can see now that we've got Luke right behind us, and he's going to be possibly looking to get himself back into P2 with this crazy battle that's going on for the win here. So into the braking zone, covering the inside there, braked a little bit late, but we had plenty of time to slow it down. P1 goes a little bit wide. We didn't want to take the position there because obviously we knew that he had dirty tyres, so we lift off, let him keep that position because we don't want to go for an overtake after we just ran him wide a little bit onto turn 1. So again, into this braking zone, I didn't want to go for an overtake, so we just stick behind him. I don't think he realised here though, because I think he does a little bit of lifting on the apex, which is perfectly acceptable and it's a good tactic to do, but I wasn't expecting that at that point, because I was letting him keep that position for that corner anyway. So he manages to stay in P1, and we've actually managed to build up a little bit of a gap to Luke behind, so maybe he had a little bit of dirty tyres from running wide into a corner there. So now we're into these 2 really fast left-hand corners where the car starts to slide a little bit when the tyres cool down. That's where you need to be a little bit cautious when you've gone for that early pit stop that we did on lap 5. By lap 6 it can start sliding a little bit. But look at this on the replay camera, extremely close racing now going into the final few laps, and you can see behind us we have Gallo catching up along with another driver. So this is turning into a 5-car battle for the lead. And yeah, it does show you why I've enjoyed this week, this race. It really does. It's entertaining. It's good close racing. It feels like a touring car race again, a bit like the Deep Forest race, but this one has a bit of strategy in there as well. So in all honesty, I found it quite a lot of fun to race this, and I do hope they BOP this Mazda. But in terms of racing, the racing's been brilliant and it's been entertaining, and that's all you can ask for a race. So let's see if we can get into this P1. We've got 2 laps to try and take the win in this race, but we've got Gallo coming through as well, so we're gonna have to get on it. A nice purple sector there as we go through sector 1 split. That's always a nice thing to see. And now trying to get on that power in 2nd gear to get a bit more grunt out of the corner. We're in that slipstream and it seems to have helped us a little bit there. You can see the delta under 3 tenths. Can we go for a move into this braking zone. We're a little bit too far behind there. You can see I'm going to have a little look just to make him think we're going to send it, but we're not going to send it from there. Down to second gear, back up to third gear, and then onto that power to see if we can get as close as we can for the final lap. We're trying to just get within that bracket of slipstream to really pull after turn 1. That's where we need to try and think about making the move. Final lap after turn 1, the long straight going into turn 3 for that heavy braking zone. So let's see if we can do it. Again, very, very close through here. You can see the car nice and stable still with the setup that we're running. We've done 5 laps. The rear tyres are cooling down, but the car is stable. So yeah, it's doing its job in the race at the moment. And then having a little look at the inside there, but no, can't go for that move there. It's not really on to try and get a move done at that point there. And now into the final corner. Again, just trying to get a good exit off this corner. You can see it's all about getting as close as we can for turn 1 and then trying to give ourselves a slipstream up the main straight and seeing if we can work something out of turn 3. So again, let's see if we can get that braking nice and early, down to third gear, use some of the curb on the right hand side, onto that power as early as we can, and we can see we get quite a nice exit. You can see the delta coming down under 3 tenths now. We're in the slipstream. This is an opportunity for an overtake to put ourselves in the lead. So we're going to go to the right hand side of the track. We're going to force him to go very, very defensive here, and then we'll swing it over to the left. Now we're going to brake very, very wide and late, you can see it, and then tuck underneath and see if we can get a good exit, which we managed to do, but he actually ends up taking a bit of a poor exit, and that just causes us to end up giving him a nice bump draft down the straight, which gives him the ability now to have an easy defense into turn 4. So unfortunately didn't quite work out there, but so far some really good racing going on. So again, into the braking zone, trying to see if we can get an exit off this corner, up into third gear. Not going to be able to go through a move into this next left hand corner. It's too fast. The tyres would probably drift if we sent it into this corner anyway. So again, not really close enough to have a little look here, but we have got very close, and he's had a little bit of moment on them rear tyres where they've started to cool down, and that's given us the opportunity to have a little look up the inside. And again, we're getting very, very close into this braking zone. You can see just how close we are. Up into fourth gear. Can we get a run around the outside? So we're going to go to the left hand side and try an extremely risky overtake around the outside of these final 2 corners. Can we make it work? Braking as late as we can near the 50 board, down to third gear for a bit of rotation, back up to fourth gear on the exit there, and again we're ahead into P1, but we get a little bit of contact, which is to be expected on this corner. That's pushed us wide, but we have managed to keep the position for P1, but Gallo has come through and he's nearly took it from us right on the line. What an incredible ending to that race. Let's have another look at that from the replay camera. You can just see just how close that was as we came through the final corner, side by side here, and then into the actual straight for the finishing line. You can see Gallo goes to the right, we're on the left, and it's a drag race to the finishing line, and we managed to take that. Absolute brilliant stuff from P10 to P1. Great race that was. Enjoyed that fully. If you did enjoy it, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and let me know in the comment section what you think of this week's daily race. Now, as for the setup, this is a setup that we ran in the race that you've just watched there. You can see quite a safe setup in terms of the differential, and it seems to be quite safe in terms of running 6 laps on them tyres without losing too much control, so you can give that a go. However, we did try changing that for the time trial, and you can see there what we've done here. We've lowered the damping ratio expression on the front to 30 instead of 50-50, and we also lowered the natural frequency as low as we could on the front and a little bit high on the rear compared to a little bit lower on the rear compared to what we had before. So that seemed to help over the curbs, and you can also see with the differential that we went 565. Now, I definitely recommend you giving that a go and maybe playing with it from anything from 30 to 60, just seeing what type of balance you like with it, especially in the race. I don't think 60 for the race will be necessarily optimal. I do think it can work, but I do think it requires a little bit of throttle control to make it work as effective as some people are making it work. So just bear that in mind when trying it in the race. You might need to alter it a little bit lower, but yeah, give them setups a go. Let me know in the comments if they've helped you out in the race, and I'll be back live for more content in the future and more videos. Thanks again for watching, everyone.